All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Friday Night Live. I'm the pimp man, Matt Morrow. Literally just walked in the house. I have a normal Friday night routine where I usually kind of go through the pictures we get and the highlights and kind of separate those and then get on a new Friday Night Live because it is so incredibly late. and there's so much to talk about, and I didn't want to start at 1 a.m. Mainly because I'd be a zombie, and I'm halfway there now. But um, what an incredible second round night of playoff football that we saw tonight, and I don't even know where to start. I mean, some of the scores that were coming through while we were at Chambers and Hickory Ridge, me and the producer, I could not believe some of the stuff I was seeing. But before we get into all that, we'll talk about Chambers and Hickory Ridge tonight because, the way this game started out, it started out like a heavyweight fight. I mean, the first quarter was scoreless. You could tell both teams were kind of feeling each other out, trading punches. Both teams forced, I think it was 3 punts back to back. The offenses really were just not getting anything going, and the defenses were dominating. Then the second quarter, I believe Chambers punted early in the second quarter, and then Hickory Ridge got the ball, and their first play in the second quarter, they bust a big run up the middle. Randall Fisher goes 46 yards, and it's 7-0 in a flash. And it was a incredible environment. I mean, Hickory Ridge packed the stands, to the brim. The band, I thought, did a great job tonight. Their students were really incredible. I didn't get them on camera, unfortunately, but um, that place was going crazy. And then Chambers, came back and they responded. I think Hollywood had a touchdown run. Yeah, because I missed it. It happened so fast that we were in transition to the other side of the field, and he busted a big run for a touchdown, tied the game up at 7. But then going back, Hickory Ridge got the ball back, and then Alex Bentley had a beautiful pass down the sideline to Saban McLaughlin. We got a great highlight of that. It's out on Twitter right now. We'll get it over to Instagram at some point this weekend, and hopefully I can get it to Facebook as well. It was a great play. It gave Hickory Ridge a 14-7 lead at that point. And then right before halftime, Chambers was able to put a drive together, and I believe it was Bubba Camp, the quarterback, hit Kevin Concepcion on a touchdown pass right before the half, and it tied it up at 14 going into halftime. And I'm sitting there. The game was so long. We had a number of penalties, and a number of just muff punts. I mean, I can't remember a game that had so many muff punts that really flipped field position and changed momentum and things like that. Um, just crazy stuff. But so we're tied at 14 at halftime, and I'm thinking we're headed to an instant classic here because I mean both teams were trading punches, going back and forth. So then Chambers got the ball. They went 3 and out. They punted, and then Hickory Ridge muffed the punt. And from that point on, Chambers took over the game. I mean, if Hickory Ridge catches that punt, they would have had good field position, and you never know what could have happened from there. But once they muffed that punt and they gave Chambers an open door, Chambers busted through that door. And I believe it ended up being 21-0 in the third quarter, where the defense was on fire. Hickory Ridge couldn't get anything going on the offensive side of the ball. And then, Chambers just was incredible. Kevin Concepcion, number one. I mean, this is the best game live that I've seen from him. And, he's a heck of a player. But this was an incredible performance. They put the ball in his hands as a receiver, as a Wildcat quarterback. He made some great plays running and on a jet sweep touchdown pass to Hollywood Smothers. And then he had a punt return in the fourth quarter that was the nail in the coffin of for 80 yards. Just an incredible display of talent. And he displayed why he has so much recruiting attention and so many offers. You think about Hollywood, and he had a good game too. But, Kevin was the guy that made it go tonight. Just an incredible performance for him. And then the Chambers defense in that second half, man, they did give up the one touchdown late. They had, backups in the game. I mean, the game was pretty much over. It's about a minute left in the game. But outside of that second half, man, they just turned it up 3 notches. And they hit the gas, and they just said bye-bye. And, for Hickory Ridge, I mean, they put themselves in position. There were a couple of plays that I thought the play design was really good. There was a tunnel screen. Just had a drop pass. There was a nice play where they, had a shift in the motion design, and they had a wide open receiver, just missed the ball. If you're gonna knock off the 2-time champs, you gotta make those plays, and those plays, and then the turnovers on the punts. Those were a big difference. I give kudos to Chambers defensively because they kept Alex Bentley in check. I don't think he might have had one scramble tonight, and that was such a big part of that first game was Alex Bentley just scrambling and making big plays, and they did not allow that to happen. The Chambers defensive line, James Pierce, Zarian Jackson Bass, Makai Bigelow, those guys were all over the place, and I have to look at a roster for number 36, but that young man was all over the place also. I must shout out Jaden Reeder, linebacker number 25. I thought he had a real good game. He was punting. He had a couple good punts. He blocked a punt. That was another big play in that third quarter where Chambers took over. He was in on several blitzes, disrupting things before they got started in the backfield for Hickory Ridge. Thank you, Coach Behringer. Chris Chalk, number 36. Yeah, I remember hearing his name a few times. He was impressive. Yeah, thank you for that, guys. Hey, y'all are on it. Appreciate it. But overall, man, it's been said, all week there's, 2 chambers. There's a regular season chambers and a playoff chambers, and, playoff chambers showed up big time, and they got a big win for sure. All right. All that being said, let's go to the comments, and we'll start talking about some other things that we're seeing tonight. Chris, it was a pleasure to meet you tonight. I appreciate you guys' hospitality at Hickory Ridge. For sure, man. You guys are really, really good host. Markel Riley, I told y'all round 2. Oh, man. That's going to be a great kickoff when we start talking about some of these scores. My goodness. And here's one right here. Porter Ridge over Grimsley, 41-27. That one was a lot of people asking me, is this score accurate? And, I know there's a couple of Twitter accounts Porter Ridge, uses, and I went to them and they had the video evidence, and yeah, it was accurate, and great job for Porter Ridge. We talked about it on the show. They've run that offense, and if you don't see it very often, kind of like Charlotte Catholic, it's a shock to the system, and it slows you down, and you have to be disciplined in trying to stop it. And we know Grimsley has a ton of talent, but you have to be smart. And if you're too aggressive, you can take advantage of it. Or if you do something wrong, you can be wrong against that triple option based offense. And it's a heck of a win for Porter Ridge. They've got some talented kids too. There's two of them in the Queen City Senior Bowl. And we talked about Chambers. This is Chambers' next opponent, Porter Ridge, and that game will be at Chambers based on the bracket. So, congratulations to those guys. Mike Hertz is a heck of a coach. I've been seeing him for years, and they're gonna put together a good plan. Chambers, coaches were under fire for whatever reason this week. Crazy. But anyway, they're going to put together a good plan, and it's going to be a heck of a third round playoff game next week. I'm excited to see it. Big Shelby told you about South Point. Yes, you did. South Point upsetting number 1 seed Pisgah tonight to move on to the third round. Congratulations to the Red Raiders. That's a great job. They're showing, Gaston County football, man. It's coming up. South Point won. Karen Belk telling us Forest V won over Parkwood, 20-17. You don't think about Gaston County football usually, being a hotbed, but they got a little bit cooking now with South Point and Forest View moving on to the third round. That's awesome stuff. Congratulations to those guys. Let's see here. Damian Jackson, what's up, man? Congratulations on that big victory. Markel Rowley, that's another one right here. Glenn, 54-53 over Myers Park. I mean, Myers Park was up big in this game, and I remember because I think I tweeted it out. I don't remember the exact score, but there was a couple touchdowns at least, maybe even a 3-touchdown lead at one point in that game. And for Glenn to come back and put up those kind of numbers. Now we had been talking about Myers Park's defense carrying that team while their offense was trying to sort out some issues. And you look at last week, we talked about it on the show. Providence held Glenn to 7 points last week. So this was an incredible result to me. I felt like Myers Park could score, but I did not see them giving up 54 points to Glenn. And Glenn has some good players. Don't get me wrong. They have a senior quarterback in Coleman who I thought was probably a big part of that comeback right there. He's a talented player, but I am shocked. I am shocked at that score. I thought Myers Park, had that one, pretty much locked up for the most part. And I hate to see their season end. I saw that, Queen City Senior Bowl selection, Jaden Scott, DB, had 2 pick sixes in this game. What do you say to kids that have games like that and, and it's not enough? I hate it. I hate it for those kids. It sucks to have your season end, that way, especially on the road, and you got to take that long bus ride back to Charlotte. So, congratulations to Glenn, though. Coach Stevenson is a heck of a coach, and he puts together, good teams with really good talent, and those guys are moving on. Let's see, Porter Ridge tonight. 302 yards rushing, 173 yards passing. That's some good balance, man. That's some good balance. Awesome stuff once again for the Pirates. In that big victory over Grimsley. Marcus Bell, I'll put it out there. Kings Mountain 27, West Charlotte 17. Yeah, it's been a lot of motivation going on. It is. You can read it. I'm not gonna have. I don't have to read all that. But the thing about it is, And if you watch our interview with Coach Furby, one of the things he said was, he's finding ways to try to motivate his team. And, social media has been a major motivator, not only for these playoffs, but over the past couple of years in general. You know, sometimes, it's just better to just kind of sit back and play your game. And I used to tell my guys, hey, we're going to go out here, we're going to talk with our pads. We know what's been said. We don't have to respond that same way. I want you to respond in between those lines, and they're going to feel the words we want to say to them. And then at the end of the game, then you take your chance. You want to take your shot after you've talked with your pads. Then you got the right to go out there and say something if you want to, because now you've backed it up. It's a different time. It's a different time. Sometimes, those things, inspire teams and players, and hey, it happens, man. It happens. I will say congratulations to Kings Mountain. I think it's a heck of a win. I felt like going into the game, West Charlotte does have athletes, but Coach Lloyd is a really good coach, and obviously, he's had good playoff experience throughout the years with multiple teams, and we were getting the words that Kings Mountain was banged up, this and that. West Charlotte had a couple guys that didn't play also. But it's a heck of a win for Kings Mountain to come to Charlotte and get that done and move on into the playoffs. A lot of people felt like West Charlotte was going to be a team that could possibly, go deep in the playoffs because they were in 3A. Hey, 3A ball, man, is tough. I played 3A ball. It's nothing to sneeze at. So, congratulations to Kings Mountain on coming here getting a big win. The Queen commenting. Weddington 41-31 over Marvin Ridge. Kyle Parsons, Queen City Senior Bowl selection. Had a big night, 2 touchdowns, couple tackles on defense. Griffin Reimer with a touchdown. Camp O'Connell a couple big tackles. Marvin Ridge played tough. Yeah, that game, the funny thing about that game was I felt like as soon as somebody scored, they were coming right back down the field and answering. I mean, the tweets were flying fast and furious from the Queen. Tim Winters from Union County Football was at that game. So, I mean, big win for Weddington. I honestly, I felt like Marvin Ridge could get him a second time, but hey, Weddington, man, they're starting to roll. A lot of people said they were down and, not the same team, but obviously that's not, the case right now. They're doing it a different way. They don't have the superstar that Shipley was, obviously, but, quarterback Grady Brosterhouse, I think receiver Landon Backey had a nice touchdown pass. I think I saw that from a tweet from Tim Winters. But, yeah, Weddington, great job. To those guys. That's a heck of a win. Beating your rival twice in one season is, man, good stuff. Let's see. We got a number of, let's see, is that North Davidson Hickory? North Davidson won 31-28. Yeah, Coach Glass doing a heck of a job, at Hickory. Second round of playoffs his first year. That is really, really good stuff, man. Congratulations to North Davidson for hanging on, but Coach Glass got Hickory rolling in the right direction, and they're gonna do some big things, under his leadership. All right, Miss Burlow's Huff 42, South Mex 7. Man, I saw Huff got out pretty quick, and they were they were rolling, pretty much all night in that game. Number one seed, that's strong. That's strong. I think some people felt like that game might be a little closer, but Huff, hey, put it together at the right time. A lot of people hadn't really, said much about them. They've had some matchups that, most people felt like they were going to win relatively comfortably. I thought that South Met could put a little charge into them, but, as they roll along, we'll see. They're comfortable. They're at home this whole playoffs. Everything's got to come through them. So, we'll take a look at the bracket. I don't know if the state's updated it yet, but we'll try to take a look at it here before we get off, and we'll briefly talk about what the third round matchups are in the western part of the state. All right, Big Shelby checking in. Most hated. I don't know about that. I don't know if you're most hated, but congratulations on your win, man. To be expected at this point. Good stuff. Let's see. Oh, Huff is next level good. Oh, wow. Okay, I know that's high praise. That's high praise. Good stuff, man. All right. Thank you, Cal, for posting this one. I was going to get to that on the bracket. Mallard Creek moving on. They got it done again. Mallard Creek 13, Asheville 12. I don't have any details. I'm sure Mallard Creek is probably still coming off the mountain. Well, they're probably about home now, but still. Yeah, huge win for those guys going to the third round. I can guarantee you nobody expected and I'm so happy for them. I'm really happy. Like I said last week, I'm happy for Coach Tinsley. He's a great guy. And I'm happy for those kids. There's a lot of good kids over there. There's some good talent, and they're working hard, and they're coming together at the right time and going up to the mountains. You can say, what you want, but, up there, you got to really take it because they're not going to give it to you. And you coaches know what I mean by that. So, great win for Mallard Creek, and we'll see who they play next. In the bracket here in just a little bit. All right. Wow, that's pretty good. I thought that game would be high scoring, and it was for one team. Congratulations to Statesville, man. Good stuff, man. That's really strong. That's really strong. And yes, we know that's gonna happen next week. Big Shelby. I'll have to check that out later. I'll check it out after this, Big Shelby. Yep, that's another one right there. Cuthbertson, 31-14 over the lake. Cuthbertson, we said it all year long. They were a dangerous team. Coach Kavanaugh has got these guys rolling. They got some good matchups in the playoffs, some things they can take advantage of, and they're going on to the third round, and I'm happy for them. I'm happy for those guys. They had some tough losses to good teams early in the year, but this proves one thing about the RPI system. You play a tough schedule, your record may not be that great, but you're good enough to get into the playoffs because you challenge yourself. And now because you challenge yourself, you're playing teams that, are pretty good, but they're nothing that you haven't seen already as far as how good they are. And we'll see, who they have next in the third round. Chambers knows hated. I don't know. In Charlotte, well, that's a conversation for another day. We ain't gonna go there tonight. Frederick Brown, Creek is very young, will be real special next year. All right. Yeah. I mean, if they're doing it with really young kids, that can be setting up for something good. Creek plays Huff next. Oh, boy. Man, we already had one classic matchup in the playoffs between Creek and Butler. That's another one. Many years. my old days at Carolina Varsity, we had forms on Creek and Huff. My goodness. All right, so we're at that point. I'm gonna pull up the brackets and see if this. Well, we'll see the matchups because I think the score should be on the brackets now. So let me get that up real quick here, and then we'll kind of go through the matchups for third round next week. Okay. All right, let's share that so everybody can see it. And there we go. All right, and we'll make that a little bigger. Well, that's pretty good. Okay. All right, so you see right here, we got Huff moving on, and they are going to play Mallard Creek, as we just mentioned. The game will be at Huff. And this, I guess, is this considered the quarterfinals? I don't even know. Anyway, Huff, Mallard Creek. And then we got a good old Central Piedmont Conference matchup between Glenn and East Forsyth now. A game we haven't mentioned, East Forsyth defeating Ardrey Kell on the road at Ardrey Kell, 17-0. So Glenn and East Forsyth, obviously two opponents that know each other very well from that part of the state up in the Winston area. So that should be a heck of a game right there. Weddington and Cuthbertson, Union County matchup that is very familiar with both of those teams. Weddington now back into conference play. First playing Marvin Ridge, and now they're playing Cuthbertson. So there's no real secrets about those matchups for sure. And then there's the Chambers Porter Ridge matchup that we mentioned right there. Chambers will be at home in this matchup, taking on Porter Ridge. And that's going to be a heck of a football game in its own right. All right, so let's go to 3A and see what our third round matchups are. All right, so, look at that. Just talked about Gaston County football, and we got a third round all Gaston County matchup. Oh, man, South Point and Forest View. Now, if I remember correctly, these teams played earlier this year, and I think that game went to overtime. I wish Joe Hughes was on here because I know he knows. I'm going to get back to those comments in a second once we finish up the bracket. I'm going to address a couple of those things over there. But, yeah, nice. That's great for Gaston County right there. I am so happy to see that. And that should be a big crowd over at South Point. And then our other matchup is North Davidson coming down to Crest. Crest defeating West Rowan tonight 28-15 to move on. So good stuff right there. And then we got a Dudley Kings Mountain matchup. Dudley, good gracious, they're on a mission. They defeated Ledford tonight 53-10. And that game is up at Dudley, so Kings Mountain gets to make the ride up to Greensboro. A little longer than Charlotte, so that's that time of the year you start putting those miles on the buses. And our other matchup in 3A West is High Brighton over Concord 27-14. And then we talked about Statesville all over East Lincoln. So just my first thought on that, Statesville they'll score a ton again. Their key is going to be, can they stop that High Brighton run game? It's a tale of two different philosophies on offense in that game. So all right, real quick, we'll look at 2A West, and then we'll address the final comments, and then we'll shut this down. All right, so in 2A, there's that Shelby East Gaston matchup that Big Shelby was just talking about. East Gaston winning over Forest Hills tonight, 41-21. So happy for East Gaston. Really, really making a special run here. And that's going to be a rematch because those two guys played earlier this year. Shelby did win that game pretty comfortably, but East Gaston's Justin Hill had a huge game running the football. Queen City Senior Bowl selection. And then on the other side, we got Hendersonville and Reedsville. Hendersonville ending Burns season 38-13. and Reidsville getting past Chase 56-24. So that's be a nice little matchup there at Reidsville. On the other side, we got Maiden and Salisbury. Both of those teams have been cruising so far through the playoffs, winning 47-0 and 49-0 respectively. So that should be a heck of a football game. And then Monroe was big over J.M. Robinson tonight. Really surprised to see that. 60-29. And then East Surrey, the studs they are up at East Surrey, was over Fort Bush 37-20. So Monroe, East Surrey, offense on offense. Whew, get your popcorn ready. Good gracious. It's going to be a fun game to watch right there. All right, so we'll address the final comment. Oh, yeah, let's go back to that because I did see that, Tommy. I'm glad you said that. I was looking at this, and I was looking at the 4 East, and I was looking at the West when we were going through, and I saw the East, and you see Leesville Road knocking off Richmond 19-14 tonight. Richmond goes down. Oh, my goodness. You hate to see it, man. Coach Till and those guys, heck of a season. We're going down at home to Leesville Road out of Raleigh. And they move on to play Knightdale, who also knocked off Pinecrest. That's a tough night for the that part of the state, man. Good gracious. So let's see. Hillside loss. Oh man, Millbrook moving on. Okay. Raleigh with the strength tonight. Rolesville knocking off, is that New Bern? It is Raleigh's night, man. They are partying up there in this state capital. Cardinal Gibbons rolls on. Let's see. Hoggard moving on. Panther Creek moving on. All right. So the East is just, good gracious. You got 16-25, 12-20. So the bottom side, 3-6, Cleveland Cardinal Gibbons holds, but man, upset city in the East. Good gracious. So, I mean, that looks good for the West, but we'll see who comes out there. Crazy times, man. Crazy times. All right, so let's address some comments here. Frederick Brown. There was a lot of stuff to moderate back in the day. There was a lot of stuff, since we started CFI, I hadn't believed in forums. I just feel like social media has kind of taken it, and there's still a couple places with forums, but it's not my thing, to be honest. We just argue on Facebook and Twitter. Markel Riley, honestly looking to be a Chambers Huff rematch in 2 weeks. I'm sure a lot of people would love that, because number one, it would happen in the right round. We always used to get that matchup in the second round or something, and you always felt like it was too early. So if that did come to fruition, that'd be awesome. But we still got to get there. Let's see. Mr. Curtis, best defense unit AK has seen since Chambers in the playoffs. Offense similar to Porter Ridge. Yep. East Forsyth, well coached. Well coached team, man. Well coached team. Let's see. Karen Belt. Yep. That first matchup, Forest, we lost to South Point in double overtime. Oh, man. Good gracious. That's going to be a heck of a football game. I see the other comments. I hate to see that. Yeah, a lot of upsets, Tommy. Good gracious. Yep, Big South 4-0. Great night for the Big South, man. I'm happy for him. Man. Let's see. Thank you, Mr. Brown. I appreciate that, man. 12:55 a.m. 37 people on. I mean, that tells you right now the dedication of high school football in this area. I love, all the support and all the nice comments we get when we go places in person. I appreciate you guys more than you know. This thing is a labor of love, and to be on here at this time of night talking about high school football games, um, it's something else, man. And it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. We enjoy being around the kids and giving them exposure. I enjoy supporting the coaches. And then a great environment tonight at Hickory Ridge. And Hickory Ridge, despite losing tonight, Coach Jupiter Wilson's got that program rolling in the right direction. We have Alex Bentley and Isaiah Bulladick from Hickory Ridge as Queen City Senior Bowl players. So for those two, their season's not over, but for the rest of those guys, really respectful kids. Some kids I've covered since the JV days. I hate the season had to end tonight, but great job for those guys. And then for Chambers, just impressive, man. It's impressive, especially that second half. Great stuff. I don't know where we're going next week. This that first look at the brackets. We'll sit down. We'll figure out where we're going to go. Some great matchups in that third round. But that being said, it's almost 1 a.m. I'm tired. I got to be up at 7:30. So I'll sign off. I'm going to try to get a couple highlights out tonight on Instagram from Hickory Ridge and Chambers. We'll give you pictures tomorrow from Hickory Ridge Chambers. Our new photographer, Patricia Oliver, will have pictures from West Charlotte Kings Mountain. I'll try to get those out tomorrow, maybe Sunday on those. But once again, thanks everybody for watching. For you teams that won, congratulations. For the teams that lost, great season. Second round of playoffs, nothing to sneeze at. Keep working. And see you guys next week. Football Focus Weekly. Have a good night. Have a great weekend, everybody.